Welcome to Study Time, a televised home learning program produced by Rwanda Basic Education Board.
Hello students, welcome to TV Learning Program. My name is Benon. I will be taking Senior 4 students in biology. Dear students, here I have 4 terms. I have the word cell, I have the word tissue, I have the word organ system, and then the word organ. I need your views about these terms. Which one is smaller than the other, and which one comes first? Which one is smaller? Excellent. This is the cell is smaller. Then the next is tissue. The next is organ. And then the last is organ system. Thank you very much for the good ideas. Your answers are crucial or very important. Now, how do we arrange them? Which one makes the other? That is the point. Let us say we have cells, cells which make tissue, and then tissues make organ, then organs make organ system, and different systems make the entire organism. Different organs make organ system, and different organ systems make the entire organism. So from here, we are able to know which one is smaller than the other, and which one makes the other. Now, from there, we can define a cell as the basic or the smallest functional unit of the body. Then cells make a tissue, meaning from there we can define a tissue as a group of cells which perform a particular function. Here we have different tissues in our body. Let us say we have blood tissues, we have nerve tissues, and so on. Then from tissues we have organs. Many organs combine together to make organ system, and different organ system make the entire organism. So is this clear to everyone? Excellent. If it is clear, then this is our lesson today. Our lesson today is from Unit 5. Unit 5, which is diversity of specialized tissues. And the lesson is specialized plant tissues. By the end of this lesson, students, make sure you're able to explain functions of meristematic tissues, explain function of vascular tissues to plants, which means our concern is about meristematic tissues and vascular tissues. Make sure you know where they are located in the plant, and make sure you know their functions. This is a schematic diagram showing different plant tissues. Here we have plant tissues. Here we have meristematic cells which are capable of cell division, meaning cells which make meristematic tissues are responsible for cell division. Then we have permanent mature cells which are incapable of cell division, meaning permanent plant tissues are made up of cells which don't divide. Then from permanent plant tissues, we have other 2 types. We have what we call simple tissues, which are composed of single cell type. They are made up of one type or same type of cells. Then these we have epidermis, we have parenchyma, we have chorenchyma, and sclerenchyma. Epidermal tissues, these are cells which are responsible for preventing excessive loss of water from the plant. These cells are also responsible for protecting infections from microorganisms. These cells also are responsible for protecting internal cells of the leaf. Then we have parenchyma tissue. These parenchyma tissues are responsible for storage, meaning they act as storage tissues. They can also act as packing tissues. They can also act as tissues responsible for photosynthesis. Chorenchyma tissues are responsible for mechanical support, and sclerenchyma tissues are also responsible for mechanical support, and they are ridged. Then complex permanent plant tissues are of two types. We have what we call xylem tissues and phloem tissues. These xylem tissues are made up of xylem vessels and tracheids. Then phloem tissues are made up of sieve tubes and companion cells. Now that we have finished to see different tissues which are common in plants, let us talk about meristematic tissues. A meristematic tissue is a group of cells which retain ability to divide by mitosis, meaning meristematic tissues have cells which divide by mitosis. Then meristematic tissues are specialized to carry out functions like reproduction, because of course cells are dividing, and then growth. If cells divide, that means the entire organism can increase in size, what we call growth. Then meristematic tissues have cells which have chloroplasts, and if they have chloroplasts, that means they are able to do photosynthesis. Meristematic tissues have cells which are able to divide, and if these cells divide, that means they are able to replace old or damaged tissues. Cells making meristematic tissues are small. They have a central large nucleus and dense cytoplasm. Then they have thin cell wall with no or small vacuole. That means the nucleus is large and the vacuole is small. Then no specialized features. The cells which make meristematic tissues are rectangular or closely packed with no intercellular airspace. There are no intercellular airspace. Then this is a diagram to show different meristematic tissues. We have what we call apical meristem. This one is common between the tip of the shoot and the tip of the roots. Then we have intercalary meristem. Then we have lateral meristem. Those are three different types of meristematic tissues. We have apical meristem, we have intercalary meristem, and then we have lateral meristem. You can see how they are facing upwards. Then, let us try to compare apical meristems and lateral meristems. We have talked about apical meristems, and we have said that these meristematic tissues are located on the tip of the shoot. Remember, the shoot means the upper parts of the plant. Here we talk about the stem, the leaves, and flowers. So on top of the shoot, we have apical meristem, and even underground. Remember, underground we have roots, and these roots are also responsible for growth. So you can see at the tip of roots, we have what we call apical meristems. Now, from there, we have what you call lateral meristems. Like you see in here, we have what you call lateral meristems. So our question is, how are these types of meristematic tissues important? Let us say apical meristems causes what we call primary growth. That means primary growth is the lengthening of the plant. Let us say we have it here at the tip of the shoot. It is going to cause growth of the plant, increasing in length. Then the roots are also going to increase in length as they move downwards, looking for water and mineral salts, meaning apical meristems are responsible for primary growth. Primary growth is the lengthening of the plant. So apical meristems are located at the tips of the shoot and roots. Then when it comes to lateral meristems, these cause secondary growth. When we talk about secondary growth, we mean widening of the plant. Let us say this is our stem. This stem needs to increase in terms of width. That's where these lateral meristems are going to divide so that this width of the stem can increase in size. This secondary growth occurs at the cambium and produces bark on the trees. Then types of meristematic tissues, we have said apical, lateral, and intercalary meristems. Apical, we have talked about it, located at the tip of roots and shoot. They are responsible for primary growth, leading to the increase in the primary plant body. That means the increase in terms of length, increasing in terms of height. Then we have lateral meristem. These are lateral parts of the plant where they are responsible for secondary growth. The cambium gives rise to secondary vascular tissues. Here we have secondary xylem and secondary phloem in dicotyledonous plants. These make the cambium increase in terms of width. So that is what we call lateral meristems. Then we have intercalary meristems. Intercalary are found in the region of permanent tissues like nodes of the monocotyledonous plants. Here we can take an example of sugarcane. And the function of intercalary meristems is to allow growth in length to occur between internodes. Let us say we have our plant here, and then here, this is the internode, this is another internode. Then here, around here, we have what we call intercalary meristems. These intercalary meristems are going to cause growth between this internode and this internode. So that is what we call intercalary meristems. So they will cause the growth between these two internodes. Then from there, let us talk about functions of meristematic tissues. After seeing where they are located and their role in primary and secondary growth of the plant, let us see their main function. One of the main functions of meristematic tissues is to produce new cells by mitosis. Remember, meristematic tissues are made up of cells which are able to divide by the process of mitosis. And if they divide by the process of mitosis, this will cause growth, let it be primary or secondary growth. Make sure you understand the difference between primary growth of the plant and secondary growth of the plant. These cells elongate and differentiate to form new cells for primary growth of the shoot and the root. When we talk about the shoot, we mean the upper parts of the plant, and the root, the roots are underground. Then vascular cambium produces new cells to increase the diameter of the stem. That means the cambium has what we call lateral meristems, which are going to cause secondary growth of the stems and roots during secondary growth. Then we have cork cambium called phloem. Phloem produces the outer cork layer called phloem, which consists of suberized cells. These cells have what we call suberin. Suberin is a waxy substance which is very important for the widening of the cambium. The cork layer reduces water evaporation from the plant and protects the plant against the entry of pathogens. That means because of this cork layer, the plant reduces the rate of transpiration or evaporation through the stem, and even this cork layer prevents the pathogens to enter into the plant. Then we have what we call intercalary meristems, which allow growth and increase in length in regions other than the tips. We have said between internodes, we have intercalary meristems, which increase the length of the part between the internodes. Then we have what we call vascular tissues. With vascular tissues, they consist of two kinds of tissues. We have xylem, responsible for conduction of water and dissolved minerals from the roots to upper parts of the plant. Then phloem vessels are responsible for conduction of elaborated food or manufactured food from where they are produced to where they are needed. Xylem tissues are made up of dead cells, which have cell walls removed at the end of the cells. Then phloem tissues transport food nutrients produced by the plant in the process of photosynthesis. Remember, plants produce food by the process of photosynthesis, and that food has to be transported from where it is produced to where it is needed. That's what we say, the transport or translocation from the source to the sink. Translocation is the transport of manufactured food from where it is produced, which we call the source, to where it is needed, which we call the sink. That type of transport is done by phloem vessels. Then this is a diagram showing xylem vessel. This is another diagram showing phloem vessel. For the xylem vessel, it is one way only. That means water and mineral salts are transported from roots to upper parts of the plant in one direction. That's why we say one way only. Then we have water and mineral salts being transported. These are the substances. Then no end walls between cells. Like you see in between, there are no end walls. When you check the cell wall, here we have thick walls stiffened by what we call lignin. Lignin is a complex substance, and this acts as the waterproof. Then the cell walls are thick, like you see, this is thick. Then when it comes to phloem vessel, two-way flow. Two-way flow means what? Here, food nutrients can be transported from leaves to lower parts of the plant, or they can even be transported from roots to upper parts of the plant. Let us talk about food being translocated from leaves to other parts of the plant. Remember, plants have leaves. Leaves have mesophyll cells, which are responsible for photosynthesis. Now, when plants have access to sunlight, they do photosynthesis. And when they do photosynthesis, food substances are produced. When they are produced, they need to be transported from leaves to other parts of the plant. That is one way. This happens in most cases in summer or when plants have access to sunlight. Let us talk about winter, when there is no sunlight. What happens? Plants have their stored food in their tubers or bulbs or roots. Now, because plants are not making their own food by the process of photosynthesis in their leaves due to lack of sunlight, what happens? Plants are going to use food stored in their storage organs. So in that case, food may be transported from roots to other parts of the plant. That's why we say transport along phloem vessels is two-way, either from leaves to other parts of the plant or from roots to other parts of the plant. Or sometimes in the middle, where leaves are located, plants may transport food nutrients from those leaves to upper parts of the plant or to lower parts of the plant. That's why we say transport or translocation along the phloem vessels is two-way flow. Then water and food nutrients, you can see they can be transported from up or down. Then cells have end walls with perforations. Like you see, these are the end walls which are connecting them, and these end walls have perforations. Then, this is a diagram trying to compare xylem and phloem. You can see this is a companion cell. The function of the companion cell is to provide energy and proteins as well as other nutrients to tracheids, to sieve tubes. And these companion cells are important because they provide energy. Now, this is a cell in the leaf. You can see it has made food by the process of photosynthesis, and this food can be translocated to other parts of the plant. Here, for example, in the root cell, and that process is what we call translocation from where food is produced, or we can even call it the source, to where food is needed, what we call the sink. Then we have also movement of water along the xylem vessel. You can see this is one way. So let us try to compare xylem and phloem tissues. Xylem is made up of dead cells. Phloem tissues are made up of living cells. Xylem tissues have thick cell walls, while phloem tissues have thin cell walls. Xylem tissues have cells which have lignin, while phloem tissues have cells which are made up of cellulose. Then xylem tissues are impermeable, phloem tissues are permeable. Xylem tissues have no cytoplasm, while phloem tissues have cytoplasm lining. Xylem tissues transport water and minerals, while phloem tissues transport food, what we call translocation. Then xylem tissues transport water and mineral salts to leaves, while phloem tissues transport food to growing parts and storage organs. Here we can talk about roots. Then xylem tissues have one-way flow, only from roots to upper parts of the plant. Phloem tissues have two ways flow, either from leaves to other parts of the plant or from storage organs, including roots, to upper parts of the plant. Xylem tissues have fibers, while phloem tissues have companion cells. We have said companion cells are responsible for providing energy, proteins, and other nutrients to sieve tubes. Dear students, after talking about meristematic tissues, which have cells that are responsible for division by the process of mitosis, we have seen three different types of meristematic tissues: apical meristems, lateral meristems, and intercalary meristems. These are responsible for growth. And we have talked about primary growth, which is done by apical meristems. And then we have also talked about lateral growth, which is done by, we have talked about secondary growth, which is done by lateral meristems. Then from there, we have talked about vascular tissues, xylem and phloem vessels. Xylem vessels transport water and mineral salts from roots to upper parts of the plant. Phloem vessels transport food from the source to the sink. Now, let us have homework to test your level of understanding. Question number 1, define the term tissue. Question number 2, what are the functions of meristematic tissues? Question number 3, explain functions of xylem and phloem vessels. Question number 4, compare xylem and phloem vessels. Here you have to compare these vessels. Then question number 5, explain reasons why plants need vascular bundles. Dear students, thank you very much for following all the steps of the lesson. Do the homework to test your level of understanding, and then stay safe and enjoy the rest of the day.